Hardy. This is Tucker Smallwood's 9th Rant and Rave. Tucker 2.0 recently turned 50. Ladies and gentlemen, Tucker Smallwood.
An inordinate amount of truth tonight. Your program mentions that I have a Purple Heart, which is not a military branch like the Air Force or Marines. It is a medal awarded for injuries sustained in combat. There is no comparable decoration for post-traumatic stress disorder, though perhaps there should be. Its consequences can be as devastating as the loss of an arm or a leg. Many of us, mostly recipients, call it the clumsy medal. No one I have ever heard of tried to get it. No one in their right mind. And if you die, you still get it, just posthumously. I was unconscious when they came through my shotgun hospital ward, so they pinned my Purple Heart to my pillow. I was unconscious a lot those first few days. And a good thing. I had IVs in both arms and a trach in my throat. And the stitches there were fundamental to having been brought back to life. So any opinion about my physical appearance was understandably not judgmental. Yes, my throat now has an abundance of sutures. But the good news is, those sutures are evidence of recent historic surgery. Word. My surgical records are now a part of the Vietnam Vascular Registry. Casualties of my injuries did not survive, so no recovery data existed. Eventually, I found the courage to ask, how much time can I expect? They hesitated. Maybe 5 years. Maybe 10. We really don't know. So the next weeks passed slowly as I recovered. 3 weeks in Saigon and 2 more at Camp Zaba near Tokyo. That's 5 weeks of healing. I was becoming accustomed to my appearance. I'd been fed intravenously the first 3 weeks. I could now eat, and I was learning to talk again. The fragment that had severed my carotid artery also severed my vagus nerve, which controls our vocal cords, and mine were now paralyzed. So I was initially mute, then discovered I could whisper, and I whispered on that radio for about 45 minutes to call in an extraction that brought us to care. Those of us still alive. All this time I was still bleeding out. And then I had the singular experience of dying. I'm now strong enough to survive the flight home to Walter Reed and more surgery. I have a photograph of the visit of my mother, my grandmother, my sister, and her daughter Celia, born while I was in Vietnam. 4 generations of the women of my family. But what I remember most vividly was what I saw in my mother's eyes when she first saw me. The scars at my throat were like the laces on an NFL football. Angry, red, raised, raw. And what I saw in my mom's eyes was her pain, her sadness, Only then did I appreciate how difficult they must be to look at. So, a bluesman from the 60s had to relearn how to talk and sing. I'm a bit like the dancing horse. It's not really about how well we dance, people. It's amazing that this fucking horse can dance at all. So now it's the 70s, and I become an actor in New York City. And some of you elderly New York City transplants may remember a casting agent named Lou DiGiamo. Show of hands? Lou was taken with my backstory, and it said, Tucker, I'm going to find you a film role. One day Lou called and said, the film is Cops and Robbers, and this character is perfect for you. I said, look, I can't do it. I just started rehearsals this week for a play at the Public Theater, Winning Hearts and Minds. Lou was disappointed. This play was based upon a volume of poems written by combat veterans. Their work was dark, naked, very much in your face. And this is a piece my character performed, a poem that I set to a blues progression. It's called Hawaii City.
All right.
Muddy body bags, lying sunning in the day. Along the perfume river bank. Sharing nothing, staring blind, speaking in mute sounds, but not to one another, oh no. Money body bags, money body bags, full of magic tricks. Along the perfume riverbank. Stuffed with wishes, bursting with hopes, crammed full of life's sweet dreams. Money body bags, money body bags, momentarily scrutinized and lifted, sagging with the emptiness from the earth. Speaking loudly, whispering prayers, whimpering and screaming, spilling out life's secrets. buddy bags. Five of the six were veterans. 3 of us had served in Vietnam. Our play closed in previews. Contention had developed between the couple who had produced the play. They had chosen the poems, they had negotiated agreements with the veterans who had written the poems. This was a financial dispute. Producer Joe Papp made a tough decision, and he cut his losses. I was disappointed. Still learning that show business can be ephemeral. Lou was understanding, but that role had been cast. He gave me a few days on the film as a glorified extra, and he told me something that endures to this day. Tucker, plays come and go. Movies are forever. I like art that cuts to the quick, that travels at the speed of life. A few years ago, I was honored by the Vietnam Veterans of America for my contributions to the arts. I published a book. I've given countless interviews and speeches on PTSD. And I've been working at it for 48 years. A fellow honoree at Wichita was a Marine rifleman named Jim Northrup. I was to wear his necklace, his gift to me tonight, but I forgot to bring it. Jim was a tribal elder with the Ojibwa Nation, a journalist, a poet, an editor. That night, he read this poem, Grandma's Hair. It was really crazy at times. Once, we got caught out in this big rice paddy. Bad guys started shooting at us. I was close to the front of the formation, so I got inside the tree line quick. Bad guys couldn't see me anymore. When I leaned over to catch my breath, I heard the snick, snick, bang! Sound of someone firing a bolt-action rifle, shooting at the Marines still out in the rice paddy. Snick, snick, bang! I fired a 3-round burst at the noise. That asshole turned, fired at me. I saw the muzzle flash, heard the bullet snap by at close range. I fired another 3-round burst as I moved closer. Then, through a little opening in the brush, I could see a pile of rags, bloody rags. I went over to give him one in the head. We used to do that all the time. One in the head to make sure. When my 7.62 bullet hit, it knocked his hat off. When his hat come off, oh, this hair comes spilling out. It was a woman. She had hair like my grandma's. So today is Veterans Day. Who do we honor? What did you do today? Or is your presence here tonight meant to represent your investment in Veterans Day? If so, thank you for your attendance. Did hearing that do anything for you? Thank you for your service. It's a fucking given. Or should be. Every American mother, son now breathing in and out and above ground should know that's a given. And please appreciate that the vast majority of you are not included in that 1% of American citizens now personally invested in the defense of our country. Thank you for your service. It's a limp dick, impotent validation to any veteran that has served in harm's way. Veterans are not monolithic. This is my opinion. Some of us may be comforted by this flaccid nostrum. Understand that a lot of things have changed in the last 50 years. One of them, don't blame the warrior for the war. That shift was accomplished by my generation of veterans, by the Vietnam veterans of America. We came home. We were reviled, spat upon, cursed, disparaged. And when Vietnam Veterans of America formed, we vowed that never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. We've kept that promise. Any American who served under fire over the last 40 years has done so somewhere else. Maybe Iraq, Somalia, Syria, Afghanistan, Africa, Kuwait, who the fuck knows? But it was somewhere outside our borders. They flew to foreign lands. They deployed. They did their fucking job. They obeyed their commander's orders. A lot of them died. A lot more of them were wounded, some grievously. So, if you want to truly acknowledge any veteran you encounter who has been there, wherever the fuck there is, and has returned, say to them, welcome home. All of us get that. My generation and subsequent generations as well. And all of us are grateful to be home. Carry on.
So, that's our show for tonight.